welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Minnesota Rack Stars podcast. And I am your host, Joe Call. And this week is my new favorite episode. I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty good one. I'm sitting down with my Uncle Greg, who actually put down a giant buck last year. And he's here to tell us a story about how that all went down. And this isn't just about the hunt. This is a pretty wild and crazy story when the stars aligned, I guess you could say, and good things happen to good people. And it's an amazing story. It hits on all ends. It is hitting you with laughter, and it is hitting you with emotions like none other. I'm not going to lie. At the end of the podcast here, when we really dive into the meat and potatoes of everything and the story of how everything came to be, we were laughing and just about shedding tears, not going to lie. So it was an amazing episode here, and I'm glad I was able to sit down with Greg and record this podcast because it meant a lot to me, and I know it meant a lot to him too, and other people who are all involved with this story. So I'm not going to keep you too long here. Like I said, it's a pretty amazing story of how this happened. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get to the podcast here. Hey, if you're like us, you're getting ready for that upcoming hunting season. The one thing we always want to make sure of is that we have the best apparel possible to keep us out in the woods longer. And we've been paired up with Arctic Shield ever since the beginning. And what they want to do for you guys, the listeners, is give you a discount code to get you 20% off of everything on their website, which is arcticshieldоutdoor.com. And if you use the code RACK20, that's RACK20, you'll be able to get 20% off everything on their website. So take advantage of this offer right now. Well, if you're looking for a gift or just something for yourself, Minnesota Rack Stars related, I'll tell you what, you need to check out our clothing store that we have. The link is on our social media platforms and on our website, where you can go to it and order some sweet Minnesota Rack Stars swag and accessories. I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, when things are winding down, I'm going to put on a movie or watch some sports on TV. The first thing I do is I get into my Minnesota Rack Stars sweatpants and sweatshirt because it is so comfortable. And that's the thing, like, if you got a shirt or pants or whatever that are comfortable, you know what I'm talking about. And this fits it to a T, and I am not joking around. This stuff is so comfortable, and that's why we're going to continue to keep this store open online, because it's a great product, everything that they put out. And why don't you guys check it out, and I guarantee you you'll like what you have on. So with that, we're going to get to the podcast here. Thanks for listening. All right, man, you ready to do this?
I guess.
It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to do this podcast for a while, but with your work schedule, obviously you're on the road a lot, and when you get home, you got a lot of stuff to do. You got a huge yard here that you're going to make me take care of this next week, and I'm happy to help you out. You got a huge ass lawn, Greg.
I know. You got a nice one size too, though.
Yeah, I do. It's nice. Upgrading lawnmowers. You upgraded your lawnmower. What was it? Was it last year, or has it been a couple years now?
It's been 3 years ago.
So you're running, what, a 60-inch now?
60-inch, yep.
That night and day difference?
Oh, yes, very much so.
So, yeah, like I said, you work out of town to get home. It's tough to try to make things work. You got to take care of your own stuff. You got family stuff going on. We've had weddings like crazy this summer. Yeah, a lot of things going on, but we're finally able to make it happen. I just finished working a little bit ago. I stopped at Mom and Dad's, got cleaned up, and swung over here, and we're going to rock this podcast because, like I said, this is going to be one of my favorite podcasts. I already know it is just because I know the story that's going to go along with it here. But first, before we get going, Greg, just kind of give everyone a little introduction of who you are and, I don't know, what you kind of do for a living.
Greg and Joe's uncle. I work for a company out of Oakdale, Minnesota. We do a lot of work for XL Energy, hydro dams, from drilling piling to digging shafts to directional boring to slip lining a sewer. Our company does a lot of different matrix of commercial heavy jobs.
So what is it exactly? I mean, I know you have worn many hats in your lifetime. You've worked a lot of different jobs. You're a jack of all trades. You've done some crazy things to this place. A handyman. Give us like a typical day on the job for yourself.
For myself,
Well, first starting, let's say Sunday night.
Sunday night. Well, usually you're heading to the job site Sunday night. You're leaving. Hopefully, you can leave after traffic, or you might have to leave before traffic. And otherwise, you're gonna be sitting in cities if you're driving through the cities. But usually, I headed to work on Sundays and get to the house that the company rents for us or whatever, and yeah, ready to start up on Monday morning, bright and early on a job site.
What's the furthest you've traveled for work?
Probably North Carolina, 18 hours.
So when you're out and about, like myself, it doesn't matter where I go. When I'm going to a different state or whatever, and I'm just wired different, but the whole time I'm sitting there thinking about, I wonder if there's a deer in there. There's deer habitat. North Carolina, how big are the deer? I actually got a buddy that lives down in North Carolina, and he's been able to knock down, I think, a couple of good bucks down there already. But it's interesting. I mean, what's your take on these other states? I mean, you like my younger brother. He's like, I don't give a rip about any other state besides this one here, and I'm gonna hammer it out even if I don't see a damn thing. He's just gonna keep hunting here.
He's just gonna be plugging away. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, have you seen deer down in other states that kind of gets the mind rolling a little bit, or not too much?
Oh, definitely. There was the only cornfield in Transylvania County down there. I think that they had the biggest buck in the county, I think, because I watched that 8-pointer. He was only an 8-pointer.
Jeez.
But yeah, he was decent. But then I got back to my house one day. Actually, it was on this year, New Year's Day, and I had a wounded doe laying in front of my work truck about 10 yards, and didn't realize it. Wish I would have seen it before I walked out the door. The door slammed, and she got up and started snorting and scared the living. Yeah. Well, I waited about an hour and followed the blood trail, but no such luck. Otherwise, I thought I was going to have some fresh back straps out there.
Oh, nice. So, going back to traveling here, and if you've listened to my previous podcast, the reason why I asked this question is because we went down to Nashville about a month ago, and I was on the plane, and I was looking around at people, and it's awesome when you travel because you finally realize that there's more to life than just the county that you live in. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So we're on the plane, and we're either going there or coming back, and I was just kind of thinking about how each individual has their own story, and has each person has their own skill set that is better than somebody else in the plane. Besides your occupation, what is a skill that you have that you feel is better than most?
Oh boy. Put me on the spot here.
It could be anything. Anything. I had one guy tell me he can sleep the best.
Well, I'll tell you.
Go anywhere. Go ahead.
My wife and daughters would probably say definitely not a skill of patience. That's probably, I don't know. Eating.
There you go. I like that one. I don't want to tell my kids this, but they're up at the lake with their grandmother right now, and the last 2 nights they were up there with her, and I told Kaylee, I said, we finally get an opportunity to go on a little date. Let's go. So we went the first night they were gone, and the second night they were gone. We went out to eat, and it was a good time. Really good food. What is your favorite thing to eat?
Well, it used to be gummies.
What type of gummies?
Just any gummies. Licorice.
Oh, not the new gummies.
No. Oh, no. No, not the new gummies. No.
I know there's a lot of people that like those gummies. I haven't had any, but
No.
I know when I was having my back issues, there were people telling me that I should try some gummies. I'm like, what? Now is the time I probably would try it, but I never did. But I don't
Right.
know. No, not for me. Not for this
No,
guy.
no.
I got too many other fun habits I like to do. Um, so getting on the hunting topic now, kind of transitioning here. Another question I like to ask all my guests is, bring me back in your mind to some of your first hunting memories that you have growing up.
Well, probably, very first year hunting. Um, Good friend of mine, neighbor, growing up, him and I would build deer stands out of wood, nails, and needless to say, those aren't standing anymore. But I don't know. We probably built I don't know 3, 4 deer stands just out of random 2x4s and planks that were laying around, and nailed boards to the 4 steps going up. Couldn't do that nowadays. You don't bounce anymore. Just saying.
Right? Um, Probably in one of those stands was the first time I ever hunted all by myself in the church woods.
Sure.
There's a spot going off that first trail by the dump, and then it was kind of almost, I want to say, kind of furthest to the east. There was a wooden stand, and I remember sitting in there the very first time by myself, and I heard these leaves crunching, just coming in, and my heart just starts beating out of my freaking chest. And I'm doing the slow turn, and I'm like I've said this before, I just about pissed my pants. I mean, I'm freaking out. And all of a sudden, I turn, look, and here's a damn gray squirrel coming in. And I'm like, well, holy Lord, that just scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of those old wood stands. I think it might have been like Grandpa's stand. I think that's what it might have been called,
Yeah,
maybe.
we built that, and actually, Grandpa, he did shoot 2 does out of that one opening morning.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Those and going back, like that's one of my first hunting memories. My memories that I go down the road is, making sausage and all those fun things that did back in the day. The deer drives. I'm gonna have you tell a deer drive story, so start thinking about that. But I guess that's one thing that everybody has is that first fun hunting memory. And I think one thing that I was thinking about on my way over here today was how you and I are kind of in similar situations. There's only one difference, and that's our wives. Your wife hunts, mine doesn't. But other than that, you have 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters. And in talking with people who enjoy the outdoors and like hunting, and they want their kids to get into hunting, talk to me about your girls growing up and how, because they both love hunting. They really do. Talk to me about, was there any strategy that was involved with you raising the kids to, I don't know, kind of persuade them to hunt a little bit, or was it just they just kind of followed your footsteps?
Well, the girls are 5 years apart, so uh, Lily, the oldest, um, she was more. I thought she was going to be more of a tomboy, like growing up. So she kind of just followed in my footsteps. Um, and she's got a hell of a lot more patience than me because she can watch deer walk. And, I watch them walk now too. But um, anyway, they're 5 years apart, and like Lily took off. She loved it and just loved being out in the outdoors. And when Megan came along, the youngest, she I don't know, it was probably in the second year of hunting or whatever, and my wife tells me the story about Megan. She wanted to come with, and she started crying, and it was just, I'm like, Megan, you're a little bit too young yet, And when I got home that night of hunting, and my wife had told me, you know what she said? I'm like, what? I don't know why they want to go walk through the tall grass anyway.
Take that.
But no, Megan took off too. I mean, they love being out in nature and enjoying it. So
Yeah, no doubt. It's always fun come hunting season because I always know that. Has there ever been a year that you've gotten skunked and there hasn't been a deer hanging either in Grandpa's barn, shed, in your garage here, anything?
no. There was one year that was the worst year hunting in our family, and that was 97.
Okay.
I was the only one to get a
Really?
little 7-pointer.
Really?
Yeah, 97 was a rough year because what I think it was the winter before that there was like 2 bad winters there where
Sure.
a lot of deer killed off because of snow.
Now, I guess if you haven't caught the drift so far, and I don't know where you're at now, but I know where you were before, and there was no such thing as a I only hunt for bucks. You're a straight meat hunter, and I love that mentality. I wish like my mind could go back to that. There comes a point in time in the season where I turn into that guy. Whether it's early season where I say I'm just going to get a doe, I'm going to knock something down, or late season like it's time. I want some venison, I want some jerky, whatever. But you have always, in my mind, been that guy where I don't give a shit. I'm shooting something.
I like my sausage.
Damn right.
I like my sticks I make.
And it's good.
I make yeah.
So going back to that, like one memory that I have of you, and
Oh boy.
I don't know if you remember this or not, and maybe you still have all of this stuff. I bet you probably do. I remember, I don't know, maybe I was in junior high. I was probably in that junior high range. Anyways, I remember you having like this, like Indiana Jones type camouflage hat, and you even have a blaze orange hat like that too. But what also I remember was I think you carried a big machete with you. And then to top it all off, if that wasn't enough, I'm pretty sure you had a sling that had about 30 bullets that you could put inside your sling that you were ready to rock and unload some ammo.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, holy Lord, Greg, you don't have a buck knife. You got a freaking machete on the side of your belt right there.
Now I just wear two buck knives.
Oh, there you go. You never know. Oh, man. I think one thing that should be brought up is what you said. You enjoy making sausage. Tell us about what you've kind of transformed your garage into come venison making time of year.
I have always had a couple winches on the ceiling. It's nice to back the trailer right in or the truck and winch them right off. But a couple of years ago, I don't know, we lived here.
Electric winches.
Electric, yep.
I got the idea from you. I put electric winch in my garage too, not only for deer but also for my lawnmowers. But they are slick.
Couple of years ago, we've been living here 19 years, so a couple of years ago we put in a sink in the garage. Oh my God, that's a lifesaver. I don't know why I waited so long. But yeah, no, with the sausage stuffer and meat cutting table and whatnot, I got it set up pretty good here.
Yeah, you've transitioned from the old hand crank stuffer to the electric one, I see.
Yep.
What was the deal with this table over here? Didn't you have something over here with this wasn't this a fold down table over here or something?
Those arms fold up to hang my meat racks on. Is that what you're talking
Oh,
about?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Those 2 wood pieces.
Yeah, so it's folded up against the wall right now, but then it folds down. Then
I fold it up, and it's just 2 racks coming out, so I can put my meat racks on and fill them.
Nice. How do you prep your seasonings? What do you do for seasonings?
Seasonings, I found a good one through, I can't even think of that one website. I ordered them. My casings, I found, the sheep casings are nice and all, but those are just for hot dogs. I go with the collagen ones for sticks. I found a really good one that you don't have to chew on it forever. That's always a turn off with giving somebody a stick.
Yep.
But I usually order my stuff online and except for the hot dog seasoning, I get that right up here at Thielen's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't go wrong there.
No.
Yeah. No, we were gonna make some venison over here this year, and it didn't work out for a couple different reasons. But hopefully this year we'll be able to make that happen, because that, to me, that's all part of the hunting experience. And when we get to your story about your deer, that's one of the things I'll remember about it was going uptown with you guys, coming back over here the next day, like those little things like that. Just, and then obviously the making of the sausage just adds to the experience. And like I said, like when I think of my first hunting memories, it's making sausage, getting together with family, all that stuff. So
definitely.
that's always a good time. So let's kind of get back on track here. I know you've been on some wild and crazy hunts. All right. Give our listeners one wild and crazy hunt.
Oh boy. Huh. Wild and crazy.
It could be bear. It could be deer.
Yeah.
It could be a deer drive.
I don't know. It was probably actually the first year hunting. Dad wouldn't let me carry a gun the first year, but I could help drive. That's when we had some land just west of Buckman, and we were party hunting, and little old me at 12 years old, walking alone. He wouldn't even let me walk with him. It was we were close enough together, but it felt like a long ways away. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I think on that one drive we chased out 6, 8 of them, and I know they weren't shooting towards me, but it was like a war opened up, and I just dropped. I mean, there wasn't no bullets flying around me, but it was just that first year, that getting into it and being there, being in that position and as a young kid.
That was the one thing about deer drives is the anticipation of the first shot. Who shot?
The goosebumps in the back of your neck. All right. Come on.
You know what I mean?
What did that shot sound like? Did he hit?
Yeah.
Was it a thud?
And then I was like a bang, a bang,
oh,
a bang, and you're like,
he's
come on.
He's still running. Dang it.
Oh yeah. That was some wild ones. I remember one time we were making a drive, and all of a sudden, the one thing we learned when we did deer drives is that the does and fawns always busted out the direction we want them to go. But for some reason, the bucks always backtracked and went through you and went the direction that you were coming from.
Yep. So you always got to put that guy out in the back of the woods where you're walking. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember one time we were making a drive, and all of a sudden I see this buck get up, I don't know, probably 30 yards from me. And sure as shit, right in between me and the next driver, and we weren't carrying guns in there. We didn't bring guns in the woods when we were younger and stuff. And all of a sudden it ran in between us, and it backtracked. And there was an individual that was sitting on the back side of the woods, which was along a road. And all of a sudden that deer crossed the major road and went to the other side, and the person that was on the back side ended up getting him. But I mean, every time when you're making a drive, it's hard to think about, well, why should I sit on this back side here because all the deer are going to go that way? Well, you're dead wrong. If you want to shoot a buck, you sit on the side you're starting on.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that was there's some wild and crazy times. We don't do too many drives anymore, but
Right.
yeah, some crazy wild memories. How about as far as you know, there's a lot of people out there that take a lot of pride in hunting public land, and you have hunted a lot of public land throughout the years. Talk to me about some of the maybe pros and cons of hunting public land that you've seen throughout the years.
I don't know. I don't. I'm to the point where I don't see too many pros on hunting public land
Yeah.
anymore. It's just I've had bullets flying at me before. You got guys walking in on you like when it's breaking day, prime time, and putting up their stand right next to you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of public land. I mean, as far as getting out early, and that, like I said, that was more of rifle hunting,
Mm-hmm.
As archery, you know, if you ain't got the public or private land, I mean, it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad, but it just, you get when my oldest daughter and we started hunting some public land, and I put her in a stand, not even 100 yards from me, and I can see the guys walking up to her with lights, in the morning and whatnot. And that was last year we hunted out there. I mean, we hunted that land for, oh heck, I don't know, 5-6 years, and she hunted out there 2 years I think in a row, and after that it was getting overpopulated with deer hunters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you think that there's, if you could say, let's do this, if you could make a rule change for public land to help, whether it's keep people safe or maybe not intrude, like in that situation where all of a sudden you ended up being in a situation where there's other hunters walking up to your daughter and you were probably just frustrated as heck because you got your daughter over there and guys are walking up to her. You don't know what the heck's happening over
Right.
there. You don't know what's being said or whatever, if they're, being rude or whatever. Is there something that maybe, I don't know, let's just say, thinking outside the box here, let's just say if you could make a rule change to public land, what might that be? Or could there be something?
I can't think of anything on the top of my head right now.
Sure.
It just I don't know how you can make it. 'Cause a deer could be running through the trees and they start shooting at it, and you're on,
Mhm.
you're 100 yards from them, and
Mhm.
I just don't know how you can make it safer.
That's what always has steered me away from public land, especially come firearm season. Is
Right.
just you don't know where anybody is,
No,
you
I
know.
don't.
And I don't know if public land had a little sign-in sheet where you maybe in a weatherproof sign-in sheet where at least okay, there's 3 other hunters in here or there's 15 hunters in here, because all of a sudden there's a vehicle there and there's 5 people in there that get out and you just see one vehicle and you're thinking, well, there's maybe 1 or 2 other people in here. Well, now there's 5 people in here surrounding the woods already. I don't know.
Right, or a map pointing or giving you your position where your stand is or whatnot too.
Right.
I mean, if you want to go in that, but
Like an online
that
app or
depth.
something.
Right.
I mean,
that
like
too.
an online app.
Right.
Public land check-in app where you check in and this is where you're hunting, and maybe it doesn't have to give your name, and
Right,
your
you
address
don't-
and everything. It just
just
says there's a hunter
hunter.
right here,
Right.
But because I'm always safety first. I've hunted next to public land during firearm season before, and I've actually heard bullets zinging by me, and I did the same thing you did, and I freaking got down. And that was when I was hunting on a hay rack with some straw bales, so I had some protection there, and that was one of the reasons why we went that route with that stand, is to give me some protection there if people were shooting from state line, but they don't know where the hell people are, and
No.
and whether people on private or public, they see a deer, they shoot, and I'm not saying everybody is like this, but if you're hunting public land, for the most part around here, if you see a deer, it's probably getting shot, because you're going through all that effort to put a stand up, and you're traveling and all that stuff, and you're going to want to put something, in the freezer. So you see a deer, it's going to get shot. So you get that opportunity, people get a little fired up, and I'm going to try to take this deer. Well, you don't know what's 100 yards beyond your target.
Right.
If you're in some type of cover or whatever. But I don't know. I've always thought about that, like, archery season, it's a whole different ball game. But, maybe it's for rifle that, there could be an app where the DNR could come out with something where you just check in and it gives your GPS location. That way you kind of have an idea, okay, here's a blue dot on this map to the northeast. I know I got to be careful if I shoot to the northeast, but if it's straight east, I can go ahead and shoot because there's no blue dots over there.
Right.
I don't know, just throwing it out there. But you have a really good public story. So we're gonna give a public hunting story first, and then we'll get to your private land story after that. But let's kind of go down this road here. The reason why I kind of want to do this podcast with you is because you've shared some really good times with some good buddies and revolving around hunting. And let's get to the story with you and Brad first.
Well, Brad and I, him and I go way back for growing up, and that's the one that we built deer stands out of toothpicks. But anyway, we decided to hunt some land, and he was familiar with it because he hunted it the year before, and we get on the property in the morning, and he goes, walk down the road, walk in about 60 yards, and put a stand. I'm like,
that's simple.
Yeah, I love it. It's what you got to do sometimes, I guess. But it was really nice land. But breaking day and a couple does came through and whatnot, and about an hour or two later, there was a gravel road behind me, and I heard a little rustle on the road, and I look over and I told Brad, I don't even care if the deer is going to have or the buck has a half a rack. I'm shooting. I was to that point that year,
Yep.
And I looked over my shoulder, and about 150 yards out on the road, and sure enough, looked like he had a half a rack. I'm like, perfect. By the time I stood up and grabbed my bow, and I look, and there's a trail 15 yards from my stand. Didn't even know it, and seen a doe coming, and I'm like, well, he's got to be right behind her, So I judged the doe, drew back, judged the doe, and I could hear him coming, and I basically closed my eye through my peat sight and looked through my left eye, and I'm like, when do I do it? When do I do it? He's on a dead trot. As soon as he stepped foot past that last popple tree, I let out a big old bleat. He stopped dead, and I had to drop my bow like 3 inches, and I released, and I didn't know if I hit him. I didn't hear nothing really, My buddy after the fact, or Brad after the fact, he said all you heard was a bang, smack. But yeah, no, I looked at its tail. I'm like, did I hit it even, And after you look at its rack, and then you start saying, go down, go down, go down.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, well, he finally went down after about 60 yards, 20 yards from the road, and 60 yards from my truck. So there you have it. The only thing is I loaded that big boy in my truck myself.
Jeez. Now that wasn't the only deer that was shot on that property with you guys together, was it?
No, that evening, actually, that afternoon I drove around a little more because they wanted to sit all day, or he wanted to sit all day, And that afternoon, I actually was going to go take a nap in another area, and in a stand. Well, I wasn't in that stand for about 15 minutes, and a doe and a spike buck came through, and I ended up shooting a doe. So I was all tagged out by 3:30, and but that evening when he was coming out, he did stalk a really nice buck.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't with him for that, but no, that evening. It's ironic when sometimes you can walk up on a deer, and you know, I I had another opportunity, to shoot a doe out there too, walking up on her,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it's just hunting public land. I mean, it's hit and miss though.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not disturbed, it's great.
You got a hot doe.
That definitely.
Did you guys double up one year with bucks? Did you guys double up one year, you and Brad?
Yes, that was the year.
That was the year.
That was the year.
And those are both good deer.
Mm-hmm.
Those are both really good deer. Yeah, it's always a challenge. I remember going out on some public, like you said, it's different archery season versus firearm, and this was with archery, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a little different ball game. I don't know. It probably would have been the probably biggest Minnesota buck that I probably would have shot was on public, early season archery, catching them coming to a food source. Just one of those situations where I don't know, I got caught off guard a little bit, and it was a split second decision,
Mm-hmm.
and there was nobody else out there. But now that same spot, this was probably when I was in college, so you're looking at 2006, somewhere around there. But now that spot, I mean, it just gets piss pounded with
Right.
people. It's like, yeah, probably not.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of different things, but like you said, if you don't have property, that's kind of your only option, and to find a good piece of public land is tough to do. And one thing I want to give a shout out right now, because I think it's a great opportunity, being we're talking to public about public land, is there's a club in our area called the Rice Area Sportsman's Club, and they just purchased another property. I think it's another 80 acres. In the nearby area, and I just want to tip my cap to the Rice Area Sportsman's Club, because they understand where hunting is now and where it could go in the future, and they want to make sure that they continue to give people in the state here an opportunity to have a place to hunt if they don't have their own
Right.
property to hunt. And I know it was a tough decision if they were going to buy property or do some other things, but and I've talked to a bunch of those members, and I just told them, I said, no matter which direction you guys go with this chunk of money that you want to spend, just know that you're doing good, because some club members wanted to do one thing, other club members wanted to do other things, but in the end, it's about, natural resources and the people and the community and all that stuff. And what they have done for people in the outdoors is absolutely amazing. And to be honest with you, I think that the state should give them some big time recognition, because they have
Definitely.
done some crazy, wild things. I mean, they own a bunch of property. They manage those properties for birds and deer and everything wildlife. They're burning, they're planting trees, they're putting in food plots for the public.
Exactly.
I mean, it's awesome what they do. So I just want to tip my cap to the Rice Area Sportsman's Club for doing some amazing things and purchasing another property to give those hunters out there. Maybe it's an older hunter that doesn't have a property, or younger hunters who are just starting. That's where I got my start. That's where I shot my first deer, was on a piece of public ground. So everybody's kind of got to start somewhere. So I just wanted to tip my cap to those guys for their latest purchase here and giving back to the state and the people. And now transitioning to the story that I've been waiting for to hear. If you're watching the YouTube video right now, Greg just put his hand over his head. But Greg, let's kind of push rewind. You can go back as far as you want here with this story, and I think you kind of know what I'm referencing here. But you can go back as far as you want, and kind of give people the layout of this hunt before you even step foot in the woods.
I had a good friend of mine. He actually got me into the madness of working heavy jobs and construction. Real good friend. He sang in our wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Put it that way. I didn't know him before my wedding, but after our wedding, we became really good friends. So I rode to work with him. Even I basically lived with him on the road for 12 years. But in 2021, he lost his life in a construction accident. Yeah, it's I don't know how depth I want to go here.
Yeah,
but,
you're good. You're good.
His son was working for me that day, on one of my jobs. So kind of hard to talk about some things.
Yeah, no doubt.
But,
and I remember that time because when I was out in South Dakota, I told myself if I shoot a buck, I'm going to dedicate this to Neil. And sure shit, that night I had 3 shooters all up in my grill, and I was like, the first one to give me an opportunity, I'm going to shoot. And there was a bigger, wider 8-pointer that was really mature, and then there was a taller 8-pointer, and then there was one in velvet, and it ended up being the one in velvet that gave me a shot opportunity. And to be honest with you, it was probably one of the best shots I've ever made on a deer. It was 35 yards, hard quartering away, and I put one hell of a shot on it. And I just remember doing the interview, and hunting is hunting, but the whole point of this here is like we're talking with your daughters and everything in our memories and stuff. It's about those memories that you have and the friends you share with, and there's so many other things bigger than hunting. And that was just one of those opportunities that I had there where I made a really good shot on a deer, and I just remember it because after that hunt there, just doing my interview, I said this hunt was going to be for Neil, and
right.
So that was kind of that. But so we kind of got the background there. You can kind of go where you want now, man.
Yeah, well, I'd help. We'd hunt it together a little bit. He let me archery hunt on his property and whatnot. And well, after his kids are like my wife's and mine,
Mm-hmm.
nieces and nephews.
Yep.
I mean, they're awesome kids, and watching them grow up too. It's like my own. But anyway, these kids kept on telling me, go sit in the stand. Go sit in the stand. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to step foot, or intrude or
Yep.
whatnot. But they insisted. Well, 3 years later, last year, no one was out there, and Colty, they can't get out, and they're starting their own families, and they got little ones running around now too, but I asked them, can I go sit out there, and he said, we've been telling you for the last 3 years, go sit out there. Just watch out in the stand because it's ready to come down, and you might fall through the floorboard, and there's no seat in it. There's a steel folding chair. So yeah, I decided to go out there on last Thursday morning. You know, the Thursday of deer hunting rifle, and I get in the stand and the ladder. I mean, the stand hasn't been worked on in 3-4 years. You know, and I get up in the stand and the plexiglass windows are out of it, and you don't want to lean back on your chair, otherwise you're gonna fall through the floor or through the back wall, and well, then I'm not a young buck anymore, but pushing 50, sitting in a steel folding chair is not for not for a 50-year-old. I'm telling you. So I sat out there that Thursday morning, and I seen a little buck come through and whatnot, and one coyote. That's all I seen that morning, and I'm like,
Did you try shooting the coyote at all?
No, I did not.
No.
No, I did not. But I couldn't sit there no more, so I got down, came home, made the wife breakfast as she was working, and I decided I was going to go back out there. Well, I went back out there, and well, I couldn't sit. I couldn't sit. I was going to sit the rest of the day. I could not do it in that stand because it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it's cold, and I didn't bring a heater and whatnot, and so I came back home, and I sat in one of my more comfortable stands on some other land. And the next day, Friday, my youngest daughter was coming home, and she was going to be home by noon, and she wanted to go hunting, and my wife worked till noon as well, and I'm like, well, let's go sit. I mean, it was a little bit earlier than what I usually go sit, but Megan came home, so I'm like, you ain't gonna get one sitting on the couch. So I got Megan and my wife Heidi down to their stand, and I loaded up the four-wheeler and on the trailer, and I decided to go sit in Neil's stand that Friday afternoon. I get out there and yeah, here we go, Joe.
This is when it gets good.
Yeah, right. But anyway, you know, you're pushing age 50 already. You know, you'll find out. You'll find out what happens sometimes. But no, I unloaded the four-wheeler. You drive your four-wheeler right up at the stand, you know. And anyway, I get to the stand, and well, I have a little issue coming on, and
nature's calling.
Thank God, you know, in my toolbox I got about a 3-year-old roll of TP in there. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and
hey, I got to roll in my truck, man.
Yeah, right. I got in my work truck and in my personal. But anyway, I did what I had to do. You know.
So you're right by the stand.
Right by the stand. Right by the stand.
So you pull up with the four-wheeler, you do your thing.
Yep.
Right by the stand.
Then I'm putting the TP back in the toolbox of the four-wheeler, and that's when I looked up. You know, when I've seen some big deer in my life. I mean, big rack deer, but nothing quite like at 170 yards when this deer walked out. I mean, it was just cool. I mean, just awestruck. So thank God there was he only got 10 yards because he came out on a trail going through the woods, you know. And thank God he had a scrape right there in the middle of the road, because that's where he stopped.
Oh.
My gun wasn't too far. So, you know, right off the support on his stand, I pulled up, and I love how my gun, I can see how a deer reacts, in my scope and whatnot. And so he was quartering hard away from me, and I tucked one up in his underneath his arm, or his shoulder.
Yep.
Front shoulder. And he did not even flinch. Well, I even looked over my scope and whatnot, and it's like, really? He didn't even move. So I tucked another one up in there, and that's when I seen his feet flare up in the air and whatnot, and it didn't have time to get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
The nervous part came when I walked up to him, and when I did walk up to him, I did look up and say, thank you for not making me sit in that deer stand. Now, if I would have been climbing up in that stand and getting situated and whatnot, I would have never seen that deer. I would have never seen that deer.
You probably would have made noise that might have deterred him from coming to that spot.
Exactly. And it's just ironic. I mean, I just drove the four-wheeler out there too. I mean,
so let's. How long do you figure after you shut that four-wheeler off, that buck came through there?
Less than 3-5 minutes.
Jeez. And did he cross the path that you drove down?
No,
it was a different direction.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. He was 170 yards away. Okay. Different direction.
Yeah, and that's one strategy that I think. I mean, there are people that use this strategy and whatnot, but dropping people off with machines and then leave or whatever. But your machine shut off right there at the deer stand.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just it. We have said so many different things about, like it was him and Graham was saying, we're going to catch Greg with his pants down here, and this buck's going to run through, and he's not going to get a shot.
My wife actually put that one together. I hope I can make her. She should be the one to tell it, but just down the road, we buried my mother-in-law and father-in-law because my mother-in-law unexpectedly passed away, and I hate to say it, but last year on my birthday, we picked up the ashes. It's something that hopefully nobody has to go through.
Yeah.
But anyway, Neil and the father-in-law and mother-in-law, I mean, they're not even a half a mile apart, buried, and 8 miles down the road from there. And my wife makes up a story on, Armin, father-in-law, we're gonna make him get caught with his pants down. And the mother-in-law told Neil, well, Greg needs a big buck.
Yeah.
Chase him out for him.
Yeah, that was when you started telling me this story, Greg, I'm like, how the stars aligned, and just the situation that it happened in and all that stuff, and the first time, that
I said
3 years. 3 years they told you get out there and hunt, and the first time you go out there, you end up putting down this buck that ended up scoring. What was it, right around that 162 somewhere under where we at?
Yeah, he's right around 160.
What was the inside spread on that guy again? 20. It was over 20, wasn't it? It was 20 3/4 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll post the picture here on the thumbnail. But
you think I'd have that stuff memorized, but I
don't. we just know he was big, and it's just an absolute amazing story. Good things come to good people is what I believe, and you and Neil were obviously really good friends, and there's a reason why that all happened. There's no doubt about it. It's just absolutely amazing story, and it just goes to show how special hunting can be. Not only sharing memories and stuff, but also in a situation like this where everyone knows that you love hunting. Everyone knows you love hunting. Even those guys upstairs right now, they all know you love hunting. And they know you've been in some wild and crazy situations, and in my mind, they're like, we're going to top that right now. We are going to top that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have a better hunting story than that one, I want to hear it. But it hits on all ends, man. I mean, it hits on the end where a guy is going to shed a tear, and it's going to hit on the other end where you're going to laugh and freaking cry because of, of everything that played out in the end, man. It's just absolutely amazing story. Anything else you want to add to that to top it off? Anything that once you get the mount back to, we'll kind of post a picture of that too, because it's a pretty sweet deer.
Well, I told you I name all my mounts and whatnot. You know, I got Luke on the wall, I got Priscilla in the middle, and I got old bum leg. But this one here, he's Angel. Naming him Angel for two different reasons. Because there was 3 angels watching over me that day, but also for Angel Soft TP. I'll be here all day. Commercial.
I think we're ending it right there, Greg. I appreciate you coming on and telling the story. It was a hell of a story. Awesome. I want to thank you guys for listening. Until the next time, take care. Thanks again, Greg.
Thank you.
What an absolutely amazing story, isn't it? It's crazy. I wanted to share that story with you guys for so long, and you know, like with Greg's work schedule, it's always tough to line things up, as it is with everyone else, every one of my other guests that I've had or going to have on the show. You know, it's just a very cool experience that Greg was able to have there, and you know, be rewarded with that awesome mature deer. It's just absolutely amazing. You know, that after he harvested that deer and I found out that he shot it, I went down by him and we took a bunch of pictures, and we ended up going out and celebrating a little bit. And the crazy thing is when we went and weighed that buck, is a part of a big buck contest, and it was just by weight. That buck only actually ended up weighing like 160 pounds. I mean, right around that mark, 160 pounds. And this deer, I mean, was a fully mature deer, but it just shows you how hard he was rutting and running around. It was crazy. We actually had the guy weigh it twice because we were like, there's no way this deer only weighs 160 pounds. But yeah, I mean, he was ran down quite a bit from the rut, but it was either way, it doesn't matter what the score of the deer was or, you know, the weight of it. It was just absolutely amazing how it was that stand, that moment, the story that led up to it. You know what? Sometimes we got to laugh at these situations here, and, you know, Greg was able to laugh with it and tell the story. So I do really appreciate Greg coming on here and sharing that story with me, because it is really, really an amazing story. And with that, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, we really appreciate if you go over and like and subscribe to all of our social media content. It does mean a lot to us, and it helps us out in many different ways. So if you could like and subscribe and give us ratings and comments on all of our stuff that we have, I would truly appreciate that. With that, I would like to thank all of our sponsors as well for everything that they do for us. Arctic Shield, Domain Outdoor, J&R Outdoors, Skullcraft, The Fish Guide, Tactcam, and Fourth Arrow Camera Arms. I hope you guys are having a great summer. Things are starting to wind down. Trail camera photos are rolling in like crazy from everybody. So thanks for sharing those with me. It's really cool to watch that and communicate with you guys on everything. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the summer here. It's getting close to fall. I always say when I'm mowing lawns, when I start to see the flowering crabs start to drop their leaves, that in my mind starts that transition in my head. All right, we're getting close to hunting season. Some of these leaves are starting to fall a little bit, and I've seen those for the past couple weeks. So I'm starting to get a little antsy here, and I know some of you guys are as well. But with that, we're going to shut her down here. Thanks again, you guys, for listening. It means a lot to me, and I hope you guys have a great week.